I've learned to be open to grace and wisdom from God to relate with ministers under me. Some ministers could be narrow-minded. They only see themselves and their corners. As a senior pastor, you see the big picture and the interconnectedness in the ministry. You are dealing with ministers of different beliefs in some things, different orientations, and different age range. Yet you have to ensure that the team is well cemented. Your personal, spiritual, and administrative growth, wisdom, and grace from God will help you to navigate the complex terrain in the ministry. You must be prepared to deny yourself of some things. You will certainly need to trace some of your benefits as a senior pastor. God is able to bless you beyond your benefits. The reward that will come to you on account of your selflessness and desire for abundance cannot be quantified. These ministers who have been enlisted on account of your quest for abundance will bring on board what you don't have in the right quantity and quality. The skills and competencies they bring on board will certainly bring abundance to the church. As a church pastor, the multi-pastoral staff ministry frees you to concentrate on the critical area of the ministry: praying, preaching, teaching, and planning. Now, the eighth principle is suitable welfare program for church members. Suitable welfare program for church members. One principle that arouses motivation and releases the gifts of church members to create abundance in the church is welfare program for church members. This, unfortunately, is an area to which many church leaders are indifferent and which many church members themselves sometimes oppose. I found that many church members feel loved and are motivated when they see that the church leadership cares about their welfare. And so I want to recommend the following areas which God has asked us to express our love to our members as an area that areas that we can explore in our quest for abundance in our different local assemblies. The first one is occasional provision of food items. There are some church members who are not able to feed themselves regularly. Identifying them and ministering to their needs made them feel loved and wanted in the assembly. Those people will not remain in that situation forever if they live right. As God lifts them up, many of them will not forget the way God used the church to minister to them when they were nothing. Moreover, many of them, as they grow in the knowledge and grace of Christ, turn out to be part of the human resource abundance in the church. Those who have Christ well formed in them become public relations officers of the church. They go about spreading the good news of what they have received from Christ through his church. This may lead some other people to become members of the church. I acknowledge that this may be abused. We cannot stop doing the right thing because of abuse. We only need to tune to God's frequency for wisdom to check the abuse. The second thing under welfare program for members is prayer and financial support in medical needs. We operate at different levels of grace in the church. Sometimes people fall sick and they need the fellowship and financial support of the church. The church leadership needs to organize appropriate prayer and emotional support for such people. There are some members in the church who may not be able to afford their hospital bills. It is not out of place for the church to have a scheme of assistance for such people. For instance, in our church at a time, I led the church to give financial assistance to church members who found it difficult to meet up with their surgery bills. And that scheme has remained with us since then. There was a time that we don't know what happened. Quite a number of young people, when they wanted to have their first babies, will have to go through surgery. And that time, the economy was weak. It was a time that salaries were not being paid in Oyo State. And so it was difficult. The bills were there. So we had to design a scheme to say, okay, for people that are giving birth to children and they have to pay surgery bills through for cesarean sessions. Okay, I think we began with, I think 10,000. At the time it went to 15,000, it went to 10, 25,000 naira. That, okay, because we knew that the people who were involved could not readily afford the bill, so the church came to their aid. And there was also a time we had 3 persons in the church who needed to take their medication regularly, but they could not afford the cost. We decided to place them on monthly stipends to help them attend to their health. They were on the stipend scheme for years, and gradually, as they were restored to health, and as their children grew to support them, they wrote to us to step down from the scheme because their children were able to assist them. I found out that these members were happy, and many church members appreciated that the church rose to their support. Because many members saw what we did with the church finances, it wasn't a problem to keep giving to kingdom cause. Assistance in payment of school fees. Students constitute a large portion of the population of our church. We cannot run away from requests for assistance for payment of school fees. At the time we formulated policy to take care of our members and worshipers in the church. For as long as they are certified members and worshipers in the church, and God provides the funds, we keep ministering to the needs in the church. I remember that we attached some conditions to the scheme. Some of these are membership of the Home Fellowship, that if you will be part of it, you must have been established in the Home Fellowship, and you must have been a member of the church for, I think, 2 or 3 years or so that it will not be because we give assistance to people that some people are just coming to collect assistance. They should have been committed to Christ and to his church. Occasionally, we have children whose parents suddenly pass away, and we have always arranged to support one of the children in their education. I must say that many church members deeply appreciate this welfare support for church members. You may want to argue that we are able to do this because our church is rich. We began to do it when we had very little financial resources. Money does not precede abundance. Compassion and ideas do. There are many well-to-do assemblies who have not gone in the direction we have because they do not see it. So when you know the direction to go, ask God to supply the resources, and all will work out well. And the 8th principle is pulling down barriers to abundance. Pulling down barriers to abundance. The path to abundance is littered with many spiritual, psychological, and structural barriers. Ministers who are not prepared to contend against these barriers will not step into abundance. Scripture says in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12,